success.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
Hi, you Roach Growth listeners. Today I have Eric Gillman. So I've had, I want to say 300 episodes, 280, I don't know, something like that. I've never had a Cutco person or a person that sells knives on here. So that's a first. That's always nice.
You know it, man. Good to be here.
Thank you, Eric. So if you're in the real estate field in Southern California, you've probably seen Eric. The funny thing is I think a long time ago, I looked to try to find other like Cutco reps. And how big of an area do you guys cover? How does that work?
So I'm the area director for Southern California. So San Diego, Riverside, and the Inland Empire.
Gotcha. So it's like in California, you're talking about what, like 6 different Cutco people?
Yeah, do what I do. Yeah. There's, we work with, so let's jump into it, right? Because I've been doing this for 17 years. So I work with agents and business owners taking Cutco as a brand, because I think it's important to clarify, we got the knife guy on here, but what we do with that is turn them into high quality branding tools. So a lot of what we're doing is marketing with business owners and entrepreneurs all over Southern California. So there's, at any given time, there's 100, 200 Cutco reps who are working while they're in college, like I was doing, or in high school summer job or something like that. So there's always routes to find Cutco. So I can't get out here and be like, oh, the only place to find it. However, if you want to deal with a team, it's kind of like agents, right?
Yeah.
How many agents are there in San Diego County, Vinny?
Yeah.
21,000. A little bit 17 now.
Yeah, that's probably some,
right?
Yeah.
How easy is it for, you want to make it easy or easy for people to pick you because it makes you stand out? And that's simply what our team is. So Sharp Retention is the #1 team in the company for Cutco Gifting. And what we specialize in is taking that brand, high quality American made kitchen knives, and turning it into, like you like to use, for a high quality branding piece with your information and stuff on it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I looked for Cutco knives. Even I know you're talking about being hyper focused and you mean marketing, blah blah, that kind of stuff, right? But even trying to find a Cutco knife, I mean, maybe I'm just an idiot when it came to like Google search. Your name was kept popping up, and I think I even did it in incognito mode too in Southern California. So that's, I mean, it's a good sign. I know you're saying you're only talking about one little sector of it, but hey, that's still not a bad thing to do. And then for, I guess, people listening, I know you talked about kind of the sales. Is it strictly commission based? I mean, this is something I guess we never really talked about.
I've never had a non-commission based job in my life. I'm 36 years old.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to just double check. I mean,
baby.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, it's something interesting because someone told me once, right? Some of the best businesses that grow are basically the businesses that are smaller purchases, right? But they're also repeat business because you can kind of keep talking about it, and plan for it and expansion and things like that. So walk us through a little bit. I know you already kind of talked about it, about what you do, but I guess give us that elevator pitch real fast, Eric.
That's what we do, Vinny, is we help people increase repeat-based business. That's it. Our team, for the last decade plus, we've built up something that's over 80% repeat and referral-based business. Like you said, the sales cycle on a knife is different than the sales cycle on a home. So it's a higher frequency of a turnover. However, that's not by accident. You don't just get 80% of people coming back to reorder from you. So what our team really does and specializes in and helps teams grow is strategic appreciation, client retention, and increasing depth of relationships. And we use Cutco as like a vehicle. That's it's the biggest, weapon in our arsenal, but it's just one example of the things that we do to strategically manage how we let people know how much we appreciate them, because we make it inevitable for someone to come back to us. That kind of, like you said, there wasn't really, granted, there's less selection, there's less Cutco people than there are realtors, but there are other ones in San Diego. You could have found it. And that SEO, you finding me on Google, that's not an accident. There's no accidents out there. There's no accident that I walk into a room and that 80 to 90% of people in the room know who I am. And I'm not saying that to go, oh, I'm so popular. I'm saying that because I've spoken at hundreds of events through Southern California, and we put ourselves out there, and I give insanely. I just give nonstop. I don't say, maliciously, but unrelentingly. That's the word I was looking for. Give unrelentingly, right, to the community, to events, to people around you. And I think that when you start just putting other people's stuff in front of yours, it all just kind of works out. But going back to like your question is yeah, it's just the repeat based business. So I think we can focus maybe on that, or talk. We could talk more into that, because that's a lot of what I do every single day is letting people know how much we appreciate them. So they, that way, when you're on, as you know, you've been in the business for a while, when you go on vacation and you close 3 deals, or I'm biking across the country and I sell $90,000 worth of Cutco by my team, like all these things, they aren't accidents. There's no such thing as accidents, right? I like to quote Joe Rogan, is that the luck is the residue of good choices. I heard it on the Joe Rogan Experience. It's not him, but luck is the residue of good choices. So 17 years into business, you're in for a long time too. Sometimes to the outside world, people will look at you and, oh, that Vinny guy, he's real lucky. Someone just called him out of the blue and sold their $1.4 million house. He's real lucky. He just gets people calling. They didn't see you door knocking 7 years ago when it's 110-degree heat, getting your door slammed in the face by that guy's neighbor, the guy across the street, seeing you cry in your car, and then 6 years later deciding to list your house with them. People don't see all that stuff. Right. But those are all the things along the way. So increasing those depth of relationships is key. If you want to have keyword lifestyle, I work hard. I play harder than most people I know.
So let's rewind a little bit then, right? What were your aspirations growing up? I know you talked about commission-based business since you've been a little kid. I mean, what were your original aspirations when you were younger?
What's cool about that is I'm actually gotten back to that, and I'm like doing it is comedy, and I wanted to be a movie critic. That was when I was a little kid. I love film. I love movies. I love comedy. I'm a stand-up comedian. All my stuff is Sharpest Guy You Know. So, I've really been leaning into in my mid-30s, and I have a great life, but that time in life where I'm like trying to find what is my purpose on this earth. I've done a lot of awesome things and I've helped a lot of people, but like, what is the thing that you're put here to do? And for me, that's make people laugh. Make people have a good time. So that going back to when I was in 3rd grade, my mom still has this report card that she's now saved and framed for me. It says, Eric won't stop interrupting and making jokes. And it's like, do what your youngest little version of yourself wanted to do, right? Like do that thing that you're most passionate about. So what I always wanted to be, I think, was like some type of speaker or performer. And then that's why I've kind of gotten into this speaking role. And then I just how did I get involved with Cutco? It's nuts, dude. This is my high school summer job. I responded to an ad on Craig. Oh, yeah, here's a fun statistic I can tell you for sure. So I'm one of the top 50 reps of all time. I've been doing this, like I said, since high school. I'm in the Cutco Hall of Fame. I've sold $4 million worth of knives. None of those are all exciting. Those are all cool claims to fame. Here's my favorite. I found the job on Craigslist. Notoriously, the people who get hired off of Craigslist, notoriously through our company history, are like the weirdest people. They don't last.
Craigslist was a little bit different 15, 17 years ago, whatever. It was a little bit different.
Exactly. So check it out, Vinny. Yeah. I am the #1 producing Craigslist hire in Cutco history. Nobody from Craigslist sold more than me, because everyone else is the traditional route to marketing. It's always like, yeah, the top people are always surprised. It's like, how'd you find out about the job? It's like, you're a Craigslist person? That's crazy. So, but yeah. So to the point is, I found this job in high school, just kind of kept doing it and continuously. And we could talk about this, how I live my life is I fail forward. I fail forward happily, continuously. Every single day, my life is aimed at how can I fail? How can I mess up so I can learn and do it better the next day? And that's a lot of what my Cutco career has been. And it's like that way, years later, you can be like, oh, it's doing things that used to be difficult or just second nature, because I have failed at selling Cutco more times than many people have attempted doing anything in their entire life. Right. My hero is Babe Ruth, the home run king of the world. But also, you might know, you got a baseball behind you. You got a ton of baseball stuff. You might know this. What record did Babe Ruth also break the same year he broke the home run record?
Guessing strikeouts?
Yep. That's it, dude. I love that guy. He wasn't the best baseball player of all time. He was a cigar-smoking alcoholic maniac who went up to the plate every single time and swung his little heart out. And because of that, 100 years later, we have a candy bar named after him. Like, it's just go for it, man. Fear is a the crippling thing for most people's
There's
goals.
a lot of notes that you kind of relate about kind of failure that I want to get into. Obesity, I think you said like lost money and things like that. But one of the things before we get into that, I'm just really curious about, because you've said it a couple times that this was a high school job, right? When you first started with it. And there's probably a lot of people listening, or a lot of young adults listening, right? Where they're in a high school job and they're like, I need to get a quote unquote real job. I'm not saying that's the case, right? I'm just in their head because everyone's telling them, hey, I want to do it. Was there ever a thought that, hey, I need to switch over here? Or when did you go, you know what, I'm going to grab this bull by the horns and I'm going to actually make it where I'm going to be the best at this? I mean, was that kind of ever a thought that happened at the beginning?
Beginning and middle last week.
Oh, okay.
Like all of it, dude. Right? You think people, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows, man. Especially you're a top producing realtor. People see the closings, people see the checks, people see the vacations, but they don't see the budgeting, the marketing, the outgoing expenses, all the things. But that being said, no, I haven't thought about it that much recently. I love what I do and I'm building and it's going well.
What about when you're younger? More when you're younger, I guess. Because like your parents probably had a say in that, right? Or thoughts about it, or no?
Yeah, they were just happy I had a job, honestly. So
Okay.
so like you talk about like obesity too. So I'm also an author, right? So I wrote this book, and it's called The Power to Change. And so this was me when I was in middle school, like super obese little kid. I eventually got kicked out of my high school, not for being fat. They don't do that. But
if you're listening to us on the podcast. Basically, his he has the back page. It has a picture of him when he was chunkier. I'm not going to say.
You can say it. I'd like to say pleasantly plump. The doctor said morbidly obese, but call it what you will.
Pleasantly plump, and then a picture next to it has a picture of him.
5'5" and 260 pounds.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, morbidly obese, pre-diabetic, all the things, and then I got in all this trouble in high school. The point is why I bring that up is. Life is about making these small changes, right? Small changes over a long period of time, making little decisions over a long period of time that end up being massive success. Is a picture of a coal turning into a diamond on the front for that reason, right? It takes that pressure sometimes. So, I had all types of trouble and whatnot. So my folks were just happy that I had a job that I was being successful with. Of course, I played around with the idea of becoming a real estate agent, right? I've always said if I wasn't to sell Cutco, I'd probably sell luxury real estate. And there's still parts I kicked that around, but here's the deal. There's let's get back to how we started here. If you're the only real estate agent, if there's only one person to buy or sell a home from in all of San Diego County, would you go do another profession or would you just lean into that as much as possible?
No, I totally agree. And there's people I've talked to where they don't think logically in the business, but sometimes they think with their heart, or they listen to outside people and then they kind of change the way they do it. But like I've said already before, your SEO is so strong that it would be hard logically for you to leave. I would think from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Right.
The cool thing
about
that
thing.
Yeah, is the SEO is all organic too. I haven't paid any for any of that. But one of the things you mentioned, all young people too, because I'm really passionate about helping young people and talking to young people and whatever position that they're in, right? That's why I wrote this book, right? So my core belief in life is that if you have the ability to help somebody, in a lot of ways, you have a responsibility to help somebody, right? So I didn't write this book to become a number one best-selling author. I make $0 off of this book. I'm the worst book salesman of all time, right? Because when people say, hey, I'd read that, I say, hey, you take a copy. Read it. That's your payment to me, is read the book and change your fucking life. Don't sit around and wait for something to happen and be a victim of your circumstances and a victim of your environment. Make a decision, a small one, that makes something different right now. So for the young people listening, follow Simon Squibb. If you're not following Simon Squibb on Instagram, he's one of my favorite followers. He's this super wealthy guy in England. He basically walks around with a microphone and asks people what's their dream, what do they want to do. And everyone always has a dream. Everyone always has a goal. But what he basically does, what I love about Simon, he gives them the first step. All right, what you're going to do, you're going to start a page and you're going to start posting this. You're going to do this and you're going to start doing that. He gives them step one, right? Look towards the mountaintop, right? Make a plan and then put your fucking head down and take the next step forward. Imagine if you try to climb Mount Everest and you're like, I'm never taking my eyes off the top. I'm going to keep my eye on the top the whole time. You're going to die in a crevasse in the first 35 seconds. But if you put your head up, look, put it down, take 10 steps forward, it's called the success cycle, right? Start with a plan. You take massive action. That creates a result. That result is your new level of plan. And And that's how you continuously, that's road to growth. That's how you level up. But if you're just continuously living in awareness, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, my back hurts. Oh, here's a plan, but I'm not going to do shit about it. You're just going to live as, who said it? Thoreau, right? Most men live lives of quiet desperation. And that's the saddest shit in the world that's happening for most people right now. Most people that I deal with who are not entrepreneur, who are not getting after it, they're just taking life as it comes to them. And that's a tragedy, right? I know comedy, but that's a fucking wasted tragedy.
So what was your big mountaintop? Because usually at a young age, right? And I've said this before on the podcast before, I did a commercial real estate internship and I was like, I'm never getting into real estate. And then life happened and I came back and I love real estate. I've been in real estate for 13 years and all that kind of stuff, right? So what was your big mountaintop when you were, 19, 20, when you first got into Cutco?
It's the amount. Let's talk about expanding your capacity, right? So I got my little trophy rack back here. So this is I can answer your question through a pretty cool story.
Okay.
This is called the 10K award, right? So when you start selling Cutco, the first thing you go for is like a 10K summer, 10,000 in sales. If you sell 10,000 in sales your first summer, it's a good chance you're going to do okay. You might be good at selling Cutco, and you should probably stick to it. There's this thing called the push period. So for 2 weeks during the summer, you all out. You go all out. You do most sales you can. The whole point of it is to expand your capacity. Have you ever read The Miracle Morning? Do you know how Elrod? So Hal, if you ever read that, he talks about the big arc in that story is his push period. Hal's an amazing author and an old friend of mine, just a really incredible human. But he had his start before Miracle Morning selling Cutco knives. And so these 10K awards. So point is, first, this was it. This is the first carrot in front of the horse, so to speak. My first summer attempting it, I sold like $3 or $4 grand, not even close. But the point of a goal is not to hit the goal. I'm curious, Vinny, you know this. The point of a goal on the road to growth is what?
I mean, for at least me, it's moving forward. You could be better than you were yesterday.
To grow into the person who pursues it with everything they have until the end of that, right? It's to be that person who, no matter if they're close or not, is going to go until the end, play to the whistle. Championship teams don't give up in the third quarter, right? So 10K, the next summer I did about 8K. I came really, really close. And then that next summer after, I made a decision. I cut off the other option. There was no other way. I wasn't going to sell 10K in the summer. So these were things that would keep me getting motivated. But the funny story about that one too, and I'll kind of keep it brief here, is that 10K push comes up to it. It's the final day. I'm like $1,300 away. I'm at like 8,500 or so the morning of the end of the contest. So it's like a lot to do in a day. I go out, I do my first appointment. It's terrible. I do the second one. This woman in like this really rundown house in National City, and she ends up buying like $1,400 worth of stuff. Fast forward, the point is it's like 8 p.m. and I'm 200 away from hitting my goal. Well, something's not over till it's over, right? So I come home and my roommates have already started the pre-celebration party without me, as college roommates like to do. And I come in and I'm like, turn the music off. Everybody shut up. I got to make some phone calls. And I go back in my room about 8:30 at night. I hit the goal, get the 10K rock. Why did I bring that up and about expanding your capacity? So you start with, okay, how can I sell 10,000 in a summer, right? Okay, how can I sell 10,000 in a 2-week period? And then that's cool. And then you start growing, you start getting things like, this is the biggest one that they have, or they have bigger ones now. The biggest one I've won, 30K. So I did 30K in a 2-week period, right? And then it's like, okay, how can I sell 10 grand in a week? How can I do 2 closings in a week? How can I do 2 in a month, right? Spanning and lowering that time window. So much so that now I just had my biggest order ever a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Well, I have several orders now that are over 10,000 in sales. So what used to be something that was like, oh man, I couldn't imagine doing that in 2 weeks. Now through expanding your capacity and increasing that growth muscle, $10,000 orders or something that's on the horizon. So to say when I started is just, I know it's a really long-winded way of getting to it.
So let me correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I mean, and this, I feel like, I know it's something that I've went through, and I feel like this is what you're trying to say is when you first started, it was more about the achievements and how the achievements made you feel. But I'm assuming because you have the book now and things like that, there's more of a why behind what you do today.
100%. Yeah, you know it, Vinny. We like to call this is the hardest earned paperweight you're ever going to get. So I have this one. Nothing is more makes you feel more humbling or experienced in your field. So I just moved recently. Welcome to my back cave, my garage office. I'm renting out my place in San Diego and house hacking and saving some money for my next property here. But when I was moving, I mean, dude, I had I at one point, I'm like, don't give it to me. I don't need another one. You go to the conference, like, I don't need another big piece of glass in my house. And when you're going and you're throwing them away and you're like, wow, I've really come so far in my career that you're standing over a dumpster throwing 10K.
I have a pile of them right now, and I'm like, maybe I should make a desk out of this stuff. So I feel you.
That's a cool idea. Here,
Yeah.
so here I'll tell you a fun one I'm doing that I'm planning on. But yeah, I just keep one. This is I don't even know if it's my first one. I don't even they're interchangeable and whatnot. But the 30K one and the 10K one, and that's my Hall of Fame award. But to get what you're saying is, yeah, it's not about the rock anymore. It's about like, what flights do I want to book? What trips do I want to go on? What's my next property? What's my next donation? What's my next big thing that I want to invest in? Right. So it's just, the blobs are cool, but I'm kind of far down there.
Is there a wide? I mean, I know you're talking about basically things and like actions and I guess living your best life, but the book doesn't correlate with that. If you're giving away a free book, unless that book is basically in the process of getting you business, that's a thing about giving back. So is it? I mean, if you had to put down that why to one thing? Is there a big why? I mean, that drives you today?
My overwhelming why, well, I did I'd still have a huge heart for contributing and giving back. I'd say philanthropy and donating. I have I'm a former board member of Angel Wings International, which I don't know if you remember, I rode my bike across the country. So I rode my bike from Miami to San Diego and raised $100,000 for charity. So my big why is just having enough money to give without having to think about it continuously. And there's a lot of different causes and stuff out there that I care for. So yeah, I don't really have like a specific, well, I mean, I have lots of goals, build, specific things. But my underlying why, I'd say, is just comes from a place of contribution and trying to help people be the best version of themselves. That's why I give out the book and stuff. I do sell it. I will sell it.
This might painstake you. I'm just curious, where does that come from? I mean, usually when I've had people on here, when they talk about a bigger goal of giving back, things like that, there's usually some reason behind that, either with their own childhood, something they came across, something that happened, or just I don't know, some other reason, I guess.
I mean, I love this. Honestly, my dad would tell you it's kind of been built into me. I did watching my parents growing up. My parents always like just give, so I'd love to give. I want to give them credit. First, that was a story my dad always tells. He's like, you would always just be, I grew up in New York City, and he goes, ever since you were like a little kid, every time you see a homeless person, you'd ask me for $1 to give to him. And if you get to a point, I was like, you have to start explaining crackheads to your young son. But just always wanting to help people. But really what opened my eyes to the perspective. So I had an opportunity. I've been to Haiti like 4 times. I built a hospital there. So when people go, what do you mean you built a hospital there? I mean, like, I got my ass on a plane. We sent a bunch of building supplies and we built a freaking building. We built it from the ground up. We raised $1.8 million. We opened the clinic on the 7-year anniversary of the earthquake. So I've spent an extensive amount of time down there. I'm not as involved with the nonprofits. Angel Wings International, it's 100% donation based. We have no paid employees. All the money goes directly to the hospital. Fucking A, we need it so bad right now. We're struggling really bad. The situation in Haiti is very, very bad. They have taken over the airport. These horrible, disgusting, savage terrorists are holding our medical supplies hostage at the airport because it's just, ugh. So spending a lot of time in another place that I think we take so much for granted in our lives. And it makes me fucking sick, Vinny, that people waste time. They waste life. You have an American citizenship, a passport, running water, a roof over your head, 2 legs at work, eyes and energy to wake up. Get shit done. Because there's people around the world, and in Haiti and Africa and China, everywhere. There's about I would argue to say 1/2 to 2/3 of the people on this planet who are dying for the ability to have this right here. That's it. If they could wake up and have this, they'd leave their family, but they do. Some of them do, and like, it's just nuts. So I think that to answer that is, you don't have to board a plane. You don't have to go to Haiti. You don't have to build a medical clinic, but get some perspective. Get some perspective, man, and get it done. Like, stop wasting time. It's part of the reason I don't really drink alcohol is I hate the term wasted. I don't like being wasted. I don't like wasting any time, right? Like, I mean, I like to have a good time, whatever, but you can also have a good time while not drinking alcohol. People are like, oh, we don't get wasted. We're wasted. I'm like, I hate this term. I hate the time that and then it can too, because we are, sure, you can celebrate and you're not, getting wasted, whatever. And you can also have a good time without it, but also you're wasting the next day, right? We're here at 7 a.m. Like, you're not getting up early and getting it done to the maximum ability if you're out partying all night, whatever. I'm getting off on a tangent, but
no, but it's a realness. I mean, you can feel where it's coming from. So the idea of perspective, has that been something that's helped you get through the negative moments, the low moments for yourself?
Dude, I've had some pretty tough, ups and downs. I got defrauded by a tax woman, so I'm almost out of it. I'm almost out of a 2 years of being audited. It's been a nightmare in my life. Find the people who you do your taxes and everything. A mistake I made when I was in my early 20s. I hired the wrong person. And the point being, I got some tax things and this thing and a business thing and a health thing and this and that. And, you're sitting in my air conditioned paid off car, wondering how I'm going to get it all done. And it's just like, you're sitting in an air conditioned paid off car on a paved road with a cell phone that works. Like, dude, this is the answer right here. My old manager used to say all the time, and I've been quoting this lately, and I get kind of funny looks on it, but it's really not offensive if you think about it, but it's a really funny quote. We used to have it up on our board in our office all the time. We used to yell it all the time. It's like, you better hit them phones like they slap your mama. You better hit them phones like they slap your mama. You don't love your mama. You don't love your mama. That was just this stupid shit. But it's like, I'm walking around with an ATM machine, and I've got an excuse machine in my head. And which one are you going to work for? And so just here's the point of it. There are very few problems in your life that cannot be solved by making 100 phone calls.
Okay, so I know the perspective and understanding kind of where everything sits and how grateful you are. And is there like an outline of what you do? Because if anyone that's listened to this podcast, you'll realize how excitable and how multiple times Eric smiled, and I think he's a very happy guy. Anytime you see him present, he's very happy or portrays the happiness, right? Level of it. So is there a process you go? Because I'm assuming you're not happy and there's much energy naturally. There's probably something that you kind of work through before you get on stage or in front of people or talking. Do you have a process?
It's good question. And I think it's why I'm held up there. I think it's funny as you say naturally, right? You say, how do you you're not like this way naturally. And I beg to differ. Okay. I actually think, and not to say that I think myself and everyone else is included, I am this way naturally to circle. And what I mean by that is what makes me is when I, inhibit or try and again, not to say it's energy. Energy is a sale is a transfer of enthusiasm from one person to the next, right? So energy creates urgency. Urgency creates results. That's it. That's a simple equation right there. So if I need to, get results and have it done, I need to bring that high energy. And so what that comes back to is how can I have I'm an energy, purveyor, right? That's how can I have the most, and not just like, whoa, like you don't want to be up there high end. There's a difference between high energy and focused energy, right? So how can I have the most focused energy with the most concise urgency so I can create the highest level of results? And for me, that's preparation. So that's mental focus beforehand. So I'm a great speaker. That's one of my affirmations. I know that. I've been saying that. People have been telling me that my entire life. That's not an accident. I've been a Toastmaster for 12 years. I'm not an active member anymore, but I went to Toastmasters for over 10 years. I still participate occasionally. I practice my pitch 3 to 5 times every time before I do it. And I've been doing this for 10 years. I will be in the hallway before you see me at any single pitch, always running through it in my head. But also too, the night before, what are you doing to keep your energy up? My nighttime routine, and we could talk about this. I have a girl from SDSU who wants to film a day in my life. And I was like, if you want a day in my life, you got to come over the night before, because the day starts the night before. The reason I can wake up 7 a.m. like this, I haven't had coffee. I don't drink coffee. Hurts my tummy in the morning. So I like it, but not, mess with it. But I don't need it. Once you stop, needing this, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. It'd be amazing if you stop telling your brain that. I bet you can. If you stop telling your body that I need coffee, I need this. Yeah, people, need cigarettes until the day that they die, right? People need coffee until the day that they have an ulcer in their stomach, right? You don't need it. Your body, you're not born with it. So you said the word that, natural, right? Use natural energy. So one of the things, honestly, I love most about my new setup here. So I'm living with a friend. I'm in the garage office here. I got a room upstairs. I used to live in the city. I was in the metro area, right in the Mission Valley area. Love it. You should buy a house there. You should buy a house there from Vinny. You should buy a house there from Vinny immediately because home prices are not going down in Mission Valley. That's someone who's been living there and watching them tick up continuously, and they will continue to tick up continuously because buying real estate is the best, most soundest investment you can make, and you should buy it from Vinny. True story. He's awesome. I've known you forever and always admired you, and I'm really grateful to be here. Natural. What are you doing? What are you doing to get in our natural swing of things? So one of the things that I do better than most people, sleep. I sleep like a champ, dude. And
How many hours?
Usually, ideally 8, 6. 6 is kind of a minimum. Last night was tight. I got about 5.5. I had a late night. I was out doing an event. Point is though, I wake up, morning sunlight is a key thing to sleeping. So I wake up, I'm directly east here. So I get to open up my garage office and the sun rises right here. So every morning I'm putting my feet into the grass and charging my natural energy and looking into the sun directly and letting my body know that it's time to wake up and conquer the day. Just like every person in the history of our world did before we turned the lights on with Thomas Edison about 100 years ago. You need to get back to doing things more naturally. Because if you want that natural, unbounded, unrelenting, I don't need a fucking Monster energy drink. I don't need a 4 p.m. pickup. I need to slap myself in the face, do some deep breathing, put my feet in the grass and remember why I'm doing this. Those are the natural things, right? Cavemen didn't have motivational minutes. They didn't have YouTube videos to fire them up. They didn't have David Goggins clips. They had grass, breathing, air, people around them, love and gratitude. And so I use those things. And you said naturally, and that set me off on it. And I'm like, some people are like, what do you do? I'm like, my joke, this is a joke, but I'm like, people are like, what do you eat for breakfast? Cocaine and coffee? I'm like, that's crazy. I don't drink coffee anymore. But like, no, like, so just getting back to it. And so it's just, and that's kind of ties into the book. What do you eat? What are you consuming? And not just in your mouth, in your ears and in your eyes. Whew, holy guacamole. This world is crazy. What are you consuming right now? Media wise, friend wise, social media influence. Like I don't tune that shit out, dude. If my roommate has the TV on, you will not find me in that room. All this shit is a farce. And we don't need to get political because it's just the worst TV show in the world right now. Hulk Hogan spoke at the RNC last night. What world are we living in when Kid Rock opens for Hulk Hogan at the RNC? I don't know what's going on, but
there was a I was listening to Warren Buffett talk about this. Is a conversation from back in the day. But what he said, I think his dad, he said it was Republican or something like that. Maybe it was Democrat, I don't know, but I think it was Republican. And he goes, I couldn't eat dinner until I said something bad about the other party. He goes, the thing is the right says the left is gonna basically ruin the world. The left says the right's gonna ruin the world. You know what? The world's still surviving. I have faith in the US. And I thought that was kind of interesting, putting in perspective. I mean, you got to focus on you, kind of thing.
Well, and I have a joke about it in my comedy show, and it's one of my favorite moments because long story short, I get real serious for a moment, and before I drop the punchline, which I'm not going to tell you, but there's a serious moment, and everybody claps and applauds because I'm like, no, I'm not going to get up here, and I'm not going to get political because I'm not going to get political now, and whatever. Like I'm not going to get up here, I'm not going to get political because we don't need that. We don't need people separating us more, and what we'll find is we need more people like you, which is people in a comedy club. We need more people coming out, coming together, laughing, enjoying life, and realizing that there's so much more that brings us together than there is that separates us. But if we pick 2 or 4 little things that separate us and we drive a wedge into those things, then we're going to crack as a society. So just bringing more people together all the time. But so going back to it, just like, what are you like? If you're, I'm not going to tell you what to do in life or how to do your life, but if you're watching this right now and you ever spend more time, if you write a comment that's more than 3 sentences long, that's more than 2 sentences long. Frankly, if you're still writing comments, like get a fucking life, man. Like go talk to somebody. Like if you're yelling in the comments, like I like to, that's my like go-to is like, I'll read the comments. That's my, as far as I go into this world of shit throwing and everything. I'm like, I'll just go read. I'm like, this is entertaining. This is like watching Jerry Springer. Like, this is crazy, but it's just time. Like, go read a book, go help somebody, go buy a meal for a homeless person, go learn about someone's life. There's someone dying of cancer right now in a fucking hospital, and you're arguing about someone's rights in a place that's on the other side of the country that has nothing to do with you. Start thinking smaller about your community, and your world will change. Start thinking smaller about your life, your community, your people, your family, your needs, and stop worrying about what's happening in a building 3,000 miles away with rules of people who don't care about you whatsoever at all, and start taking a complete control of your life. Invest in yourself, in books, in business, in water, ammunition, and food. Dead ass serious. Don't take that as a joke. I definitely recommend it. That's a side note. And yeah, that's kind of went on a little bit of a anti-political tangent.
Before I get the last question, Eric, if people are listening, they're either looking to get into the Cutco business, they're looking to buy Cutco from you. I mean, what's the best way of them reaching out to you?
Well, those are two very different questions, Vinny. If you're looking to get into the Cutco business, you better stay the fuck back. No,
well, maybe if not in Southern California,
no.
In the Midwest or back east.
I'm kidding. No, so I actually love when my clients call me and they're like, "Hey, man, my cousin, my neighbor's son is selling Cutco, and he called me to get an appointment, but I told him no, you're my guy." And I'm like, "No, dude, call him back. Tell him he can come over. Like, have him over, buy some stuff from him." Like, that's how I started. So if you're if you're thinking about selling Cutco, do it. The training that we have is world renowned. We teach it. It's being taught in 6 different universities across the country. It has been since the 90s. You talk to any person in sales who started with Cutco, they'll always tell you, "Oh, I still, remember the training and the skills that we had." And I just talked to another girl at SDSU, so I got a chance to speak. And this is that. Keep giving back. That's all I have to say. I wanted to circle back on that before the end, but like continuously keep giving back, right? So like I had a chance to go back to speak at SDSU. This one girl's asking just what like the day-to-day or how to get started with Cutco. She actually got a job getting started, and she calls me like a weekend and she's like, "Yeah, I'm just not really comfortable with the phone call thing." And I was like, "Do you want to be an entrepreneur?" And she goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "There's no job after this one that requires no phone skills. So you either get comfortable being uncomfortable now, or get comfortable being uncomfortable because you gave up on your job and your goals and what you want to do. Like, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Step out of that comfort zone, right? "Oh, I've never done that before." Yeah, that's how everybody is the first time they've ever done anything. So start selling Cutco. If you know kids who are selling it, like have them over, buy something from them, roast them though. Make sure they do a really good job. Make them drop all the way down, and then buy something. And if you're thinking, obviously, if you need any gifts, that's where we come in. My goal is to not sell you as many knives as possible, but help educate you on how our team can increase your repeat and referral based business. We do it very, very well. And we've done it with tens of thousands of agents by taking our product, which is Cutco, and turning it into the highest quality branding tool available. So you could be an agent, you could be a business owner, lawyers. We work with contractors, plumbers, electricians, anyone who wants to appreciate the clients or their people around them. And that could be their clients or also referral partners. So, reach out to me. I'm the sharpest guy you know across all things social media. 858-255-1142 is the number. And I'm always just excited to talk to people about growth and, different things. And on that too, if anybody does hit me up for a gift consult, it takes time, 15 minutes on a Zoom, we'll jump on. I'll send you a copy of my book just for meeting with me. Grateful to be here, but that's what, I have one more final thought or for wrapping up soon, but
no. So just one last question. I mean, I know you talk about growth, talk about expansion, all that kind of stuff. I mean, if we're talking in 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Asia.
Oh, wow. Working remotely?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm looking at investing some property over there pretty soon. But no, like 5 years from now, I will be in the stateside, more realistically, property wise, owning 4 to 5 doors, and Palm Springs is where my next property investment is going to be. So, but when I say Asia is, I'm a travel bug, man. I'm trying to fill that passport as much as possible. I've had an opportunity to see some cool places around the world. I just booked a one-way flight to Southeast Asia for Christmas, and I'll be coming back. I'm going to spend about 2 months over there. I'm coming back. The one-way flight is is determined on how well my sales go in the fall. I'm going to book my flight in October on my birthday for the return flight. So if you need any gifts, let me know. It will be funding an awesome backpacking trip around, and then the investment property after that. So just continue to invest indoors, because I do truly believe, as a property owner, as someone who has one investment property, it is the best, most secure way to make money continuously and regularly. There's other, sure, you can go chase GameStop, you can go find the coolest thing in Bitcoin and whatnot, and then enjoy watching your computer for the rest of your days, wondering if it's going up, wondering if it's going down. I just wait till that notice comes every single month from PennyMac, my loan place, to tell me how much more equity I have. It's pretty cool. It's the best, soundest investment you can make. And I've looked into every other marketing, this thing, that thing, sell this, open that, but like there's nothing that appreciates more than real estate. And so my vehicle, which is the knives, I just utilize that. So people are like, why don't you buy, invest in real estate? I'm like, I am. It's just a vehicle. I'm using the thing about Cutco that one of the things that I love, that, my tagline, and this isn't my original, this is kind of like a thing within Cutco. And if you look on my Instagram, it says selling knives and changing lives. And one of the things I've always loved about the company is Cutco is just a vehicle, like in terms of the sales job. We don't get together on, our trips. We go all around the world together for payoff trips and stuff. We don't get together and talk about how much we love knives. It's like, not like, oh, dude, can you believe the rivets, man? Like, you see how the shine? Sometimes we do geek out, which is kind of funny. But the point is, it's a vehicle. And that's, I think, too, what real estate is. With those $14,000 average commission checks, yeah, that's great. Sure, you see the car, sure, you see the home, but like, what's that going towards? What's that bigger purpose? What's that why? And if you don't have that, well, then it's just pointless, and you're not going to make those phone calls. But every phone call I make, that's why I just checked my clock. Oh my God, I was gonna say I got all the time in the world for you, and Vinny, I do. I got all the time in the world for you. Also, I've got 8.5 minutes.
We're at the end of the line. So
I know we're wrapping up, but that's what my next time block is. And the point is, when you make that connection to your why, it brings that. And let's wrap it here, right? Let's finish on that note. When you make that direct connection to that why, how do you get energy? It's because I have urgency. Because I know that 5 months and 16 days from now, I'm getting on a flight to go to the other side of the world, and I want to have as much savings as possible. I know that 36 months from now, I'm going to be sitting down with that commercial real estate agent, and he's going to expect me to have $50,000 to $70,000 cash to put down that payment into that investment property. So are my daily actions today in alignment with that person who's going to have that stuff, and making that direct connection? But so often we just have that disconnect. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I should do that. And as Tony Robbins says, if you end up doing that, you're going to end up shitting all over yourself. So don't do that. Make it a must.
He says shitting all over yourself?
He goes, most people say I should do this and I should do that. SHOULD, should.
Yeah.
But then you end up shitting all over yourself.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, man. And you just don't do it, right? Move it out of the Sunday, get it done.
Well, thank you, Eric, for being here. Thank you for bringing your excitement, your joy, your positivity, your perspective here. Please, guys, go in the show notes. Go find Eric. Take a look at his book. Also, too, for the podcast, we do have a sponsor, Melody Cloud. So if you're looking for relaxed music, go in the show notes for Melody Cloud. And if you're looking for any kind of Southern California real estate needs, go in the show notes for the Enriquez Group. We would love to help you out. Again, thank you, Eric, for being here. Hopefully everyone got some great information. Remember, positivity, have your perspective. Have your schedule, have your routine, know where you want to be, or at least have an idea of where you want to be. You might not know what it is, but you at least know how you want to feel, I guess, and work towards that. So thank you, guys. Please subscribe, please share, and go find Eric. Bye, everyone.
See ya.